It's Monday. I'm back from my 2-week trip way up north in Far North Queensland in the Torres Strait Islands to Badu Art Centre, and I spent the whole day on Saturday travelling home, and yesterday morning I drove from Melbourne to my home a couple of hours away, and I spent a lot of time reflecting on the process of creating garments, and especially handmade garments that are unique, and every bit from start to finish has been done by hand, and the contrast of the mass-produced item where I don't know how many thousands of each thing are produced, but many thousands of each item are produced, and the work that we were doing was a very stark contrast to that. And we were making a really small range of only 4 items: a dress, pants, a skirt and a top, and we were doing them in linen fabric, and the workers at the art centre were screen printing by hand that fabric. So what that meant was we were cutting 3-metre lengths of linen, that is because the table was only 3 metres long. Also the fabric was wider than the table, so that meant there was an overhang of fabric on the table, and the whole width of the fabric wasn't printed. Anyway, this is the first time the workers at the Badu Art Centre have put together a fashion range that is 100% done in-house, from making the sample and deciding on which garments they would make, to making a decision about what fabric they would use and what 2 colours. And then there was workshops in the local community to create designs that would then be turned into screen prints, and then those screens were then used to hand print the fabric, and some were 1 colour, some were 2 colours, some were 3 colours. So each piece of fabric had a lot of time and care put into printing each piece. So they would mark out the registrations on each piece of fabric and where the prints would go, and they would print alternate parts of the fabric first and then dry it and wash and clean the screen and dry that, and then print the other parts of the fabric that were left to print. And that would be a single colour, but if there was a multiple colour print, then they would do the same process again and then print the next colour on that design of fabric. And then each length of fabric has to be heat set so that the dye doesn't wash off, or the ink doesn't wash off when it's laundered. And then once it's heat set, then it goes into the textile studio from the printing room, and each piece is laid up. They also have a 3-metre long table. Each piece is then laid up and the pattern marked on it, and then cut out, and then it's sewn up. Then it's pressed, it's checked for quality control and has threads trimmed and that kind of thing, and it gets ready for sale. So almost every piece is created individually. Like, we might lay up 1 or 2 of the same item and cut it out, but often it's only 1 at a time. And now what I was thinking about on my way home was how time consuming that is, and I think going forward we're going to need to really refine that process and reduce the number of prints that we do, there was a lot of excitement from everybody who created the artwork that was turned into prints and then turned into a garment. So decisions about which prints to use were really about including everybody and making sure that each person who created some art that was turned into a print had at least one garment that their print was on. But if we're going to do this again, I think we're going to have to do it where we select maybe 2 prints, maximum of 4 prints that will go on each item, and that will make it easier during the printing process and save a lot of time. I think I estimated that each garment probably takes up to 5 hours to print the fabric and dry, heat set, mark out the pattern and cut the garment, and then sew the garment up and finish it. And that's not really a cost-effective way of producing garments. And for these garments, we're actually only making 6 of each item in each colour and print. So there's navy fabric that will have 2 different prints on it. Say for the dresses, there'll be 2 navy dresses. One will have a print and the other will have a different print. But each one of those prints, there's only going to be 6 dresses made. So it's an extremely limited edition. But this whole project is like a pilot project to learn the processes and to see how everything is done and to practice doing each step of the process. And then from that, we will take all of our learnings, and then if we're doing it again next year, we'll be able to refine our process a little bit. But yeah, it made me really think about how much it costs to purchase a unique handmade item, and what you're paying for is the hours of work that has gone into each piece. And it really is like wearing a piece of art with the unique artworks that have been created by the local people. And it's not too different from creating a beautiful lino print on some beautiful paper that you would frame and put on your wall, where maybe they even do 50 of those prints. But with these prints on the dresses and the clothes, at the moment there's only going to be 6 of them. So the people that get to buy those will have a unique piece of wearable art. And I think if we were to repeat the process and use the prints again, the maximum we would do would be 50. So there's not going to be many people that have the same dress or skirt or pants or top as what you would be wearing. So I think it was a really successful trip. I did do some videos throughout the week, mainly the behind the scenes process kind of videos where you can see the artists working and printing and cleaning screens and sewing and cutting and things like that. Yeah, I hope you find it interesting. It was the 3rd time I've been to Badu Island doing this work, and I think it was probably the most productive and successful trip that I've done. And I'm able to make a connection with the artists and build their trust, and we worked really well together. They all worked really hard but had a really good time, and they're all really excited about seeing this project come to life. And the small run of production that we will be creating will be for sale at the Darwin Aboriginal Art Fair in August. So that's what we're aiming for now. So between now and then, they'll be printing all of the fabric and cutting all of the fabric and making the garments all ready for the Darwin Art Fair. So that's about 120 items between now and the art fair's in August. We're aiming to get them finished by the end of June so we can quality check them and get them ready for shipping from Badu to Darwin. So I hope you enjoy watching a little bit of my week, my last week on Badu Island at the Art Centre. And I took some small soft sculpture birds that I was going to do if I had time when I wasn't at work, and most times I was pretty exhausted after I finished work, but on the weekend I did do a bit of stitching. So I did these little birds, so a little seagull, a little budgie, a blue fairy wren, a splendid fairy wren, and an ibis. They're not quite finished. I need to put the backing on and need to just do a little bit of detail around eyes and that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm quite surprised I actually got them done because I was pretty tired. Yeah, so that was nice to get a bit of that done, and yeah, let's go see what I got up to.
This is a camu, and it grows on a tree. And a place where you collect it is called dogai. Dogai. Dogai Waku Kamu. It's a place where the jetty is, and you find the tree growing there and you go and pick it, or the camu. When they float down in the water, you pick them off the beach. So I've designed my pants on camu, or the design on camu, and the song with it. So it goes dogai kamu, dogai waku kamu, ataka waemae, dogai waku kamu, ataka waemae, sipa baltemika, okasau potukae, ngapa kamu saku, amalunji nagidal. Amalunji is me, that's my nickname, Lunji. And when they float down from the Dogai Wak, they come down to my beach where the family is, and I go down and pick them up. And then I there is a lot of ways you can preserve your kamo. You put them in a big milk tin. You got to change the water every 2 days because it smells. But to preserve the kamo, because it's seasonal, and we preserve them that way. We used to have a big milk tin, and we put kamos in there and change the salt water every couple of days.
Yeah.
And of course the kamo will lose the pink color and become white. So when you're doing your stories, you have to watch your kamo too when they change color, because you want to have a character to your story. So this is all the nature, the season of the kamo as it falls off the tree and flow down the current. Thank you.
Furikake, which is mainly toasted sesame seeds and nori sheets and some chili and salt and pepper and a tiny bit of sugar. And then I've just put some nori sheets, some grated cheese, an omelette, a couple of drops of soy sauce and the furikake on a toasted wrap. So I'm just going to wrap them up now and package them up. We're heading off to the art centre in a little bit, so there'll be a little brekkie snack for everybody.
day has ended and we have all the garments sewn and packed away, ready for Kayaf and Daf. So heading that way, come around, say hi, and yeah, excited much, can't wait, our first show.
It's Friday, the last day of my 2-week trip here on Badu Island in the Torres Strait of Australia. I'm tired. I'm really tired. We've worked really hard. We have achieved a lot, and I think the people I was working with at the art centre are really tired as well, and we're all probably going to have Monday off. I'm having a quiet night, as I have pretty much every night. I'm very excited. I found some soda water at the supermarket, which might not sound like very exciting, but it hasn't been in the shop until I noticed it on my way home today. And it's cold and bubbly, so that's just what I feel like. It's been hovering around 30 degrees and it drops down to about 27 or 26 degrees, or maybe 28 even, overnight. So there's not a huge amount of change in the temperature. But when it's not raining and the sun is out, it's really hot. So I think that contributes to feeling a little bit tired as well as all the work that we've been doing. I've tossed and turned, probably not the right words, but I have and ahed about whether to get this video together. I have done a bit of videoing during the week, mainly just of people doing their work. So I find it really interesting. I'm not really sure I have really good skills in putting something really interesting together. Yeah, anyway, I'll have a look tonight and see what I've got and see if it will make a vaguely interesting video of my kind of day-to-day work here. I don't do a lot of where I'm talking to the camera when I'm working, mainly because I just don't think of it, and there's really not enough time, and I'm not that kind of person that goes around videoing myself talking. So maybe it's something I have to get used to, or maybe it's just something I need to work around, and how to create interesting video without doing that. Okay, I'll probably finish this video when I get home. I'm leaving in the morning Saturday. I leave at 8:30 in the morning and I get home at 9:30. Well, I don't get home. I get to Melbourne at 9:30 p.m. and then I'll travel home on Sunday. That's 2 hours away. So it'll still be 2 days before I get home, even though I'm leaving in the morning. So big travel day tomorrow, and then lots of reflection and follow up and all of that kind of thing next week. So yeah, if I end up using this, thanks for watching and see you another time.